I just spent $4.5 grand on Apple products. The Apple Mac Studio and Studio Display are by far the most exciting announcement that I've seen come out of Apple in recent years. So what have we got? Well, there's a new desktop map, which just looks like a Mac Mini on steroids, and a new display that on the face of it looks like an Apple branded version of the LG Ultrafine display that they released a few years ago. So first, the Mac Studio. It's more powerful and has either the M1 Max chip or the brand new M1 Ultra Apple Silicon chip. And the M1 Ultra is essentially just two M1 Max chips connected together, literally double everything. Double cores, double GPU, double memory. And we finally got a ton of connections. 4 Thunderbolts, 2 USB-As, 1 HDMI, 1 10 gig Ethernet, and a 3.5mm headphone jack on the back. Plus, on the front, there's a further 2 USB-Cs, and finally, we've got the return of the SD card slot once again. Prices start at $2 for the M1 Max model with 512 gig of storage and 32 gig of memory, or pretty much $4 for the M1 Ultra model with 1 terabyte of storage and 64 gigs of memory. It's very, very expensive, but there is a ton of good stuff there. But there is also one thing I picked up on, which is kind of annoying, given that this machine is at the cheapest, the best part of $3 or $4 by the time you add some decent storage. And that is the HDMI port, which is not HDMI 2.1. Which basically means that any screens connected via HDMI to the Mac Studio will be capped at 60Hz refresh rates and 4K resolution. Now, to the consumer, this is annoying. So for professionals, which this is aimed at, those screens would typically be connected via the Thunderbolt ports. Now, the HDMI port is actually just there to connect in a larger TV, so editors can then play back their work on a big screen for them to see what the audience is typically going to see. But the consumer in me does just think, why couldn't they have added support for HDMI 2.1, which then frees up another one of the Thunderbolt ports on the back? I mean, come on. Next up is the new display. It's called the Studio Display, and this starts at $1,500 for a 27-inch 5K display. It's 5120 by 2880 in resolution, which, well, my 49-inch screen behind me is 5120 in length, so compressing that down to a 27-inch display, I'm expecting it to be really sharp to work on. 600 nits brightness, accurate colours, a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera with a 122 degree field of view, which also then brings the center stage feature to Mac. There's a Thunderbolt port which can charge up to 96 watts, plus 3 USB-C ports, and you can daisy chain these things together too. It also has high fidelity 6-speaker systems with force cancelling woofers, which has support for spatial audio. Really interested in trying that feature out. As well as a new 3-mic array, which basically sounds like the audio on this thing is going to absolutely kick ass. So, 2 days ago, I didn't know this thing existed, and I don't need to upgrade my M1 Mac Mini because that is an absolute beast. Today, I dropped $4.5 on a base spec Mac Studio and Studio Display. Now, I'm genuinely interested in comparing the two, mainly because Apple conveniently left out all of the existing M1 chips from their comparisons. Instead, they were comparing against like the Intel chips. So I'm going to be comparing both the Mac Studio to the M1 Mac Mini and comparing a true 5K Apple display with a 5120 resolution, 49-inch ultra-wide with the same resolution, plus obviously the upgrade cameras and speakers. So if you are interested in coming along for that journey, subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to telling you about how poor I am after paying off my credit card. So yeah, thanks for watching. Talk to you in the next one.